It's a thrill to drive this, and congratulations on putting together the next Z and such a comprehensive, fun, sporty package. In fact, I think you should drive me around in this car in your old neighborhood. What do you think?
I love that.
Yeah, you're going to take the wheel. Thank you, Alfonso. All right, let's go. Well, what a thrill this is. Start it up and
Spectacular.
let's take a ride through the old neighborhood. Tell me a little bit about what this area looked like. We're in Coconut Grove, and what did this area look like when you were growing up?
It was very bohemian.
Very bohemian? Yeah. Hippie culture?
Very hippie culture. You know, we hadn't had a major hurricane at that time for a while. So what happens in Coconut Grove is the jungle takes over.
Yeah.
So you really, like right now we're looking around and we see mostly building. It wasn't like that. It was trees everywhere, jungle, jungle, jungle. That part has changed, and it was, like I said, more bohemian and a little bit full of people, but the people were quite interesting looking.
Quite interesting looking, yeah.
Yeah, try not to stall the car. You know, the manual, which of course seems like a complete natural, was such an interesting debate in the company.
Why is that?
You know, because when you have this engine, engineers have a tendency to be a bit literal, perfection. And the new gearbox was going to deliver much more performance. So the manual naturally relies on a human.
Right.
And even the best of humans, you know, it simply is not going to be as fast.
Right.
And then, of course, the torque.
How long did that debate go on?
About 3 months in of the early phase. So the first phase where we're really anchoring everything down is about a year. But especially Ivan Espinosa, who's the head of product planning, he was really absolute. This is a manual that he said, don't worry. I know there's no proof of manuals actually having a reason to exist in the marketplace. He just really had a hunch about that. And so for us, he just kept saying, only design the manual.
Just manual.
Just manual.
Well, you would probably start a revolution in terms of the number of students who would be at driving schools in the future, because they'd all be learning to drive manuals at that stage.
And like my daughters don't drive manual.
Yeah, mine doesn't either.
And like now they're saying, oh, don't worry, Dad, get the Z. And then manual, of course, and then we'll learn on YouTube.
Yeah.
I go, it's just the clutch work. It's a bit. I'm not sure YouTube is ready to get that kind of.
They can also burn out a clutch if they grab one of your new models.
It's not an if. So this park really where I spent all my time. So all of the kids in the neighborhood, we had tree forts. All these trees are the barrier to the water. Tree fort means a piece of plywood that drifted up, and that became our platform.
You spent a lot of time in the bay.
Most of the time was the bay. I just loved it. Every time a piece of styrofoam would float up, this was the way we were going to get to the little barrier islands, which are just slightly beyond that point. And because there still was bull sharks to deal with in the shallows, we didn't really like swimming there without the protection of floating. We loved it. So the neighborhoods are like this. The effect of this kind of light.
Yeah, the canopy.
The canopy is the beautiful shadows on a beautiful shape. It's just so impressive. Some stop signs are new, so excuse my sudden. I haven't been updated.
Right. Your internal Google map has not been updated.
Yeah, it was a Bohemia town, but like the Miami Dolphins doctor lived right over there.
Okay.
So it was a mix of people. It was hippies, it was streakers, it was just about everything. The new like my parents are Cuban immigrants, of course.
Sounds like a great place to grow up when you're a teenager.
It was spectacular.
Yeah. So this is the street.
Tell me this is a dead end. Now a dead end with the deepest apologies. I'm doing this was not a dead end. My dad was a fanatic of the Grove. 62 he comes to the US. 68, 69 he breaks away from the big firm. And starts his own firm. So his first office was the one we're going to go to. His third office is this one, which is right across the street from this one. And there's another one next in the downtown Grove. The gravel is gone. Oh, they paved it. Oh my goodness. But here's a tree and you'll see. We can see.
They paved the road.
It's law offices. This was all glass. You can see the stairway. I used to sit right there.
Wow.
But it's all carved. All the architects were in this part with the glass.
Okay.
It was spectacular. That was one of my favorite. The light in that place was just wonderful. But I can't imagine a country where a guy, immigrant with $20 in his pocket, yeah, he was already a 25-year-old architect, whatever, lands on his back, gets to his feet. In 1972, they get a call, his firm, this one right there, gets a call from the White House that Mr. Richard Nixon wants to build a house in Key Biscayne, and that he bought a house and that he needs a helicopter pad and he needs all this stuff. And they had selected my dad's firm.
Wow.
Yeah. And so as a little kid, we used to go on boat to when they were building
President Nixon's house.
Yeah.
Your father.
And then Watergate happened.
Oh, did the house get finished?
Yeah. But my dad is Cuban, and the plumbers, the guys who broke in, were all Cuban. He was not involved.
Of course.
But it doesn't mean they don't check. And then I remember black cars outside. I remember the whole thing. I was a kid. 74, I would have been 10. And of course, I probably don't remember it completely accurately, but I remember my dad being under such huge stress. Like I saw in my dad's life many ups and downs, like this kind of thing. And I mean, designing the president's house as a guy who just landed.
Right.
And to be honest, kids who suffered a little bit of rejection from the community.
Right.
Because this was all we were the first Cubans in this area. But here you're in a country that's full of conflicts.
And opportunity.
But the president selects your dad.
Wow. Wow.
It's a little bit hard to get your head around.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, of course.
It was a very small project, just bulletproof and reinforce all the walls. We're talking Cold War, right?
Right.
So it wasn't an aesthetic.
Have you been by the house?
They knocked it down.
Oh, they knocked it down. Okay.
Because it was a humble. You know, in the 70s, people didn't make mansions necessarily. Even a guy like Nixon. It was a one-level house. He didn't have any need for the helicopter pad was bigger than
the house.
Because those big, I don't know, it's a Chinook. I forget what it is. Those massive helicopters. Thundering in. Marine helicopter was on the pad.
Yeah.
And we would go, because the construction took a while. And we'd go, we had a little 20-foot center console, and we'd leave this marina and cross the bay and you'd start, when you're getting close, that big monster helicopter is on this thin concrete pad.
What does it mean to you as we drive near your house where you grew up? What does it mean to you to drive the vehicle that you've designed? I mean, there must be this convergence of worlds and memories and now current modes that are all kind of clashing. And
it's a mix of course, being a little kid, not thinking you can do things out of body. Because designing a car, I still believe, is a bit out of body. It's beyond what I thought I can do. And then knowing that my dad, has been away, he's gone, and my mom for over 10 years, they never saw me as head of design.
Okay.
They passed. So this is where I grew up.
Oh.
It's a little house, a little Spanish house. It was a jungle. It's a complete jungle.
On the corner of Lincoln and Calusa.
And
it is a jungle.
It's a complete. There's a pool back there, and it's Miami where you don't get a sunburn at the pool because the sun actually never hit.
You never see the sun.
Never saw the sun. And it was obviously already a 100-year, probably built in the late 20s. So my dad didn't touch any of it, even though he's a modernist. He liked the kind of Spanish thing. And so here we just run, and the canopy is just, you're just walking around in diffused light all day long.
Yeah.
Working as a Nissan designer, we have this sense that we squandered a bit our history. Mm-hmm. We spent 10 years or so where we didn't fully take advantage of the love people have for our cars. So and really at Nissan, because we don't have that formulaic design, you are designing 20 or 30 cars that capture individual moods and temperatures and character and aesthetics, from the Frontier to the Aria EV, which are the opposite range of technologies. And I just think the reason I have never left or thought of leaving in 35 years is it's just one of the tremendous portfolios. To do a GTR and a Z in a one human's life.
That is a blessed life, Alfonso. Yes. And there are many enthusiasts out there who feel the same way.
Yes. Strange thing was Madonna and Stallone selected the Grove. They lived in the Grove, not in South Beach.
Oh, they lived in the Grove.
And I'd see them running, not them, I'd see Madonna running.
Running through the streets.
Yeah, jogging. One of my favorite projects. This Tom Semple designed on a Friday.
The Xterra.
Yeah. He was so mad that we were getting nowhere. All of us designers came in and drew, and he goes, "No, make this line, connect it back down to this rear fender. This thing is finished." And we're like, our jaws are on the. He doesn't get enough. Jerry gets a lot of credit, which he deserves completely, but Tom was a master.
So on a Friday afternoon, you put the Xterra together.
So tired of us. Had a bit of a temper.
Yeah, right.
I need to hire myself some real designers.
You're all out. So one final thing, it must feel great to you to take this car on the streets and to have people, whether I've been noticing the reactions of people, even in the hotel parking lot. People snap pictures, people stop and stare.
It's like a heavy blush moment. And then you see someone smiling and doing a very positive
thumbs
reaction.
up, and yeah.
You get a bit bashful, but of course.
Now you know how Madonna felt running through the Grove.
Always the GTR is a humbling. The Z wants to be beautiful. It's always had a beauty factor. The GTR is a bit different. It always had a Godzilla factor. I know, and I've never heard people say Godzilla is a beautiful reptile. And so I'm really excited about this adventure that eventually we'll get to, where you're dealing with it's a brick that can beat the most aero-looking supercar. It defies logic in so many ways that we have to change the way we're thinking. Where you don't design it in the same way.
I'm guessing we probably won't see very many dramatic changes. You don't want to tinker with the great formula.
In reality, the technology around supercars is shaping supercars differently. And of course, GTR lives in that world. The aesthetic things are probably different. We're more free on how we decide to shape it.
Well, thank you so much for this tour through your old neighborhood.
Thanks so much.
I have loved it immensely, and may this vehicle and you running through the Grove be like that Madonna moment that you had long ago. Thank you, Alfonso.
Thank you.
Thank you.